Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. You know that feeling
Mm.
when you're faced with just this wave of information coming at you,
Oh, yeah.
like a really dense lecture maybe,
Mhm.
or a super fast conference call,
Mhm.
and your brain just, it almost feels like it shorts out.
Mhm.
It's less like listening and more like you're trying to crack a code,
Yeah,
right? Against the speed, the way words run together, all the jargon.
absolutely. And we often think listening is just passive, letting sound wash over us.
Right.
But real comprehension, especially when the stakes are high, like university or maybe the TOEFL exam that takes some serious active skill, it's really the difference between just hearing noise and actually pulling out the meaning.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've gone through a ton of
Mhm.
study resources,
Yeah.
specifically the ones aimed at the TOEFL listening section.
Right.
But we're not thinking of this as just test prep.
Mhm.
We see these strategies as a kind of universal shortcut to becoming a much better active listener, period.
Exactly. If you can learn to handle a challenging academic lecture, you're pretty much set for any complex conversation or meeting.
So what we've done is pull out the 7 core cognitive skills you need for listening,
And also looked at targeted vocabulary strategies, words that act like signposts.
plus practical techniques, things like shadowing and maybe smarter note-taking,
Uh,
to get you from just passively hearing to really actively understanding.
that's the goal, moving beyond just absorbing noise.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the challenge itself. That TOEFL listening section, for instance, is designed to be tough.
It really is. You're
Yeah.
looking at what, 40 to almost 60 minutes of audio?
Yeah, and like 30 or 40 questions based on it, it throws you right into that authentic academic kind of pressure cooker.
And you get two main types of audio, right? There are the academic lectures, sounds like a professor, maybe with some student questions thrown in.
Mm.
And then those everyday campus conversations. A student talking to someone in the admin office or a librarian, maybe another student.
And the difficulty isn't just how long it is, it's the language hurdles.
Totally. You've got different accents to deal with.
Uh-huh.
You've got university-specific idioms, like when someone says they need to hit the books.
Right. Got to know what that means.
And critically, you have those filler words, the ums and ohs, which are natural but can be distracting.
Yeah.
And that connected speech thing you mentioned, where words you know perfectly well on their own just kind of disappear when spoken fast.
Okay, so faced with all that, we need a game plan, a framework.
Precisely. And the sources we looked at point to 7 core cognitive skills. These aren't just for tests, they're really the building blocks for understanding anything complex you hear.
Let's break them down. The first 2 sound pretty foundational.
Yeah.
Number 1, main idea or gist.
Simple, but so crucial. Can you quickly figure out the overall topic or what's the speaker's main point or purpose? Often it's right there in the first few sentences.
Okay, main idea. Got it. Number 2.
Supporting details. This is the meat, the substance. Can you catch the specific facts, the examples, the explanations that actually back up that main idea?
So not just the topic, but the evidence for it.
Exactly. Active listeners track both.
All right, now it gets maybe a bit more subtle. Skill number 3, speaker's angle or attitude.
Yeah, this is about tone, emotion, intent. Is the speaker sounding enthusiastic, skeptical? Are they trying to persuade you or just inform you? Maybe they're complaining.
Ah, so if a professor talks about a new theory but sounds, I don't know, really dismissive.
You need to catch that attitude
Yep.
immediately. It's part of the meaning.
Okay, and that links to the next one, which you said is maybe the trickiest. Skill 4, inferring meaning.
Reading between the lines, essentially. Speakers often imply things without stating them directly.
Like what?
Well, a professor probably won't say, I think this old theory is wrong.
Right, too blunt maybe.
They might say something like, while this approach was historically significant, it tends to overlook. You have to infer the disagreement or the criticism from that phrasing.
Wow, okay. So it's testing if you understand the implication, not just the words on the surface.
That's a huge part of it. Then we get into the structure. Skill 5 is seeing connections.
How ideas link together.
Exactly. Tracking the logical flow. Is it cause and effect? Are they comparing two things, contrasting them, listing consequences?
Gotcha. And number 6 is organization.
Yeah, recognizing the overall structure of the talk or conversation. How is the information being presented? Is it chronological, problem, then solution, grouped by theme?
Like seeing the roadmap.
It helps you anticipate what's coming next.
Makes sense. And the last one, number 7.
Connecting content. This is about seeing how the smaller pieces relate to the bigger picture.
Like, how does that specific example they just gave actually illustrate the main concept they introduced earlier?
Precisely. It's about understanding those micro relationships within the whole argument, that whole 7-part framework. It's a really powerful blueprint for listening effectively.
Okay, that framework makes a lot of sense conceptually. But how does this translate into actually doing well, say, on a test or understanding a complex meeting? Do the questions target these skills?
Oh, absolutely. Understanding those skills is like having the map, right? And the question types you encounter are like the road signs.
Oh, okay.
When you see a question, you know which of those 7 skills or maybe which combination of them you need to switch on.
So let's talk question types. They're the obvious ones, like just content or purpose questions.
Yep. What's the main topic? Or why is the student talking to the professor?
Yeah.
Straightforward main idea stuff.
And detailed questions, just asking you to recall a specific fact or example mentioned.
Right. But then there are the more subtle ones, like function questions.
Function, what does that mean?
They ask why a speaker says a particular, often very short phrase, like, oh, I see. The question tests if you understood the intention behind that phrase. Was it genuine understanding? Was it maybe polite disagreement? Sarcasm, even. It links right back to skill 3, attitude, and skill 4, inference.
Got it. And then there are questions that directly ask about feelings.
Yep. Attitude questions. What is the professor's feeling about this new policy? Directly testing skill 3.
And pure inference questions where you have to deduce something that absolutely wasn't stated outright.
Exactly. Skill 4 again. And finally, you get questions about the structure itself. Organization questions check if you followed the flow, what came first, what came next.
That's skill 6.
And connecting content questions ask about those links between specific ideas, which ties back to skill 7.
So to navigate all that, you really need to be listening for, what did you call them? Signal words.
Signal words, yes. Think of them as non-negotiable signposts. They guide you through the logic of the argument.
Like verbal GPS markers.
Exactly. If you hear, however, or in contrast, your brain has to flag that.
Sure.
Okay, a different idea or a counterpoint is coming.
Right.
Here, consequently, or as a result, you know its cause and effect. Here, for instance, or to illustrate. Get ready for an example that explains the general point.
So don't just hear them. Listen for them.
Active listen for them. They structure everything.
Let's make this concrete. You mentioned that dorm dialogue example. Student goes to the RA, heating's broken.
Right. That's the problem. The main idea just.
Then the RA suggests 2 things. File a request, and here's a space heater in the meantime.
Perfect material for a detail question. What did the RA offer the student? Space heater.
Okay, but here's where you said it gets tricky. The RA says repairs take 24 to 48 hours. But the test question might ask, when will the heat be fixed? The answer choice could be phrased as 2 to 3 days.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. So they deliberately changed 24 to 48 hours to 2 to 3 days. That feels like a bit of a trap. Isn't that testing math or interpretation more than just listening?
It is testing interpretation. That's skill 4, inference and action, combined with skill 7, connecting content. It tests if you process the meaning of 24 to 48 hours, and understood it translates logically to 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
A good listener doesn't just match exact words. They understand the equivalence, the practical meaning. It shows deeper comprehension.
That's a really crucial difference. Okay, strategy is vital, but you can't use strategy if you don't know the words. Vocabulary must be huge here.
It's fundamental. And you need to focus on 2 main types. First, general academic vocabulary.
Like what sort of words?
Core terms you see across different subjects. Hypothesis, phenomenon, analysis, perspective, implication, framework, things like that.
Why are those specific words so important?
Because they're like content labels. They signal the type of information coming. Here, hypothesis. You know a testable idea is next. Here, framework. Expect a whole model or structure. They signpost the argument's direction.
Okay, academic terms, what's the second type?
Campus vocabulary, just the everyday language of university life.
Things like registrar, syllabus, dorm, major.
Exactly. Elective, drop a course, office hours, tuition, transcript. They pop up all the time in those campus conversations.
Got it. But again, knowing the word on paper isn't enough if you can't hear it when it flies by.
Yeah.
That connected speech problem.
Right back to that challenge. When people speak naturally and quickly, sounds get reduced or blended. Going to becomes gonna, have to becomes hafta, would have becomes woulda.
Uh-huh.
Your ear needs training to catch those patterns, the rhythm and flow of fast English, not just the dictionary pronunciation.
So how do we actively train our ears and make sure that vocabulary actually sticks?
The sources suggest several key techniques. First, contextual learning. Never just memorize a word from a list,
Why?
because you need to see how it works in a real sentence to get the nuance, the function. Context is everything.
Okay. What else?
Shadowing. This one's really powerful.
Shadowing, you mean like repeating what you hear?
Immediately after the speaker.
Oh.
You mimic everything. Pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, pauses.
How does that help with listening, not just speaking?
It physically tunes your brain to the patterns of connected speech. You start to internalize the flow, anticipate the rhythm, rather than just trying to decode sound by sound. It makes you a more predictive listener.
Interesting. And you mentioned using transcripts effectively. There's a method.
Yeah, a kind of 5-step method. Step 1, listen without the transcript first. Force your brain to guess and predict.
Okay.
Step 2, listen again with the transcript. Match the sounds you hear to the words on the page.
Right.
Step 3, go through and highlight any words or phrases you didn't understand. Step 4, look them up. Focus on how they're used in that specific context.
And step 5.
Listen one more time, and this time, shadow along with the audio, integrating everything you just learned.
That sounds really structured.
It is, and the key is doing it consistently. Consistency beats cramming, hands down.
So little and often is better.
Way better. A focused 30 minutes every day will do far more good than trying to binge for 6 hours once a week.
And for making vocabulary stick, you mentioned spaced repetition systems. SRS, can you explain that quickly?
Sure. SRS are basically smart flashcard systems, often apps. They track how well you know each word or concept,
Okay.
and they show you the card again right before you're likely to forget it. It optimizes learning by focusing your effort on the things you're weakest on, spacing out the reviews intelligently, massively boosts retention.
Very efficient. Okay, so pulling this all together, the skills, the vocab, the shadowing, SRS, what's the absolute core strategy here?
It boils down to active engagement. You have to consciously fight against passive listening, just letting the sound happen.
Right.
Active listening means you're constantly working, you're predicting what comes next, you're focusing on tone, you're tracking the organization, you're questioning the connections. It's like mental gymnastics while you listen.
And a big part of that active engagement is effective note-taking, which, as you said, is not just writing everything down.
Definitely not transcription. If you try that, you'll miss the next 3 points while you're still writing the first one.
So what should note-taking look like?
Develop a system that works for you. Use abbreviations, symbols, maybe an arrow for cause and effect, a star for a key term. Focus on keywords, main ideas, examples.
You mentioned the Cornell note-taking system concept.
Yeah, the idea behind it is useful. Divide your page, main space for notes during the lecture, a smaller column on the side for keywords or questions later, and a summary section at the bottom. It forces you to be organized and think about retrieval.
Makes sense. Being organized helps avoid the common mistakes, the pitfalls.
Exactly. Pitfall number 1, passive listening. The solution: force yourself to engage, predict, take structured notes.
Pitfall number 2, trying to understand every single word.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Solution: let it go. Focus on the main ideas, the signal words. Don't panic if you miss one word. Catch the overall flow.
And pitfall 3, taking messy notes that are basically useless later.
Right, taking notes that are just long sentences you never look at again. Solution: Focus on capturing meaning efficiently. Keywords, connections, triggers for your memory, not full prose.
Okay. And any extra tips specifically for listeners who might be non-native English speakers?
2 quick advanced tips. First, deliberately expose yourself to various accents. American, British, Australian, others. Don't let an unfamiliar accent throw you off completely. Train your ear to be flexible.
Good point.
Second, practice paraphrasing. After listening to a chunk of information, pause the audio. Try to explain the main point or the connection in your own words. If you can't paraphrase it accurately, you probably didn't fully grasp the inference or the deeper meaning.
That's a great self-check. So, wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems to be that mastering listening isn't magic. It's about active, strategic work.
Absolutely. Building that specific vocabulary, understanding how arguments are structured via question types, and just putting in consistent, focused practice.
And these aren't just test skills. This is about navigating complex information anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Engaging in better conversations, understanding different viewpoints.
It's a fundamental skill for life, really, in any English-speaking environment, academic, professional, or social.
So thinking about everything we've discussed, those 7 skills, the shadowing technique, that tricky time frame inference example, what's maybe one small concrete step you, the listener, can take today?
Yeah, maybe just decide that in your next meeting or the next time you listen to a lecture or even the show, you'll focus intently on just one thing.
Like maybe just listening for signal words, or really concentrating on the speaker's tone for attitude cues.
Exactly. Just pick one small shift and think about how that single change might alter what you actually hear and understand. What hidden connections might suddenly become clear.
That's a great challenge. Keep all this guidance in mind as you work towards your goals.
You really do have the map now. It's just about starting the journey.